This is my story of walking along the Kepler Track, alone for 3 nights and 4 days in the Fiordlands of the South Island in New Zealand or Aotearoa. What marked this trail as unique was the isolation and lack of human contact. I did this hike in early May, just before the winter weather hit. And as I got further and further along the trail, the weather began to get worse and worse, and it got rainy and cold, and every day it got dark at 6 p.m. Warning: during the months of May to October, winter conditions can make this track impassable. I started the journey in the town of Te Anau, and it took about an hour's walking to get up to the trailhead, taking you through enchanted rainforests packed with strange mushrooms and prehistoric plants, ascending higher and higher until you reached Luxmore Hut. My bag was way too heavy, I didn't pack it properly, and it weighed down like an anchor on my body throughout the hike. The views of the second day were some of the most sublime I've ever seen in my life. So you traverse from one ridge to another. You walk along the spines of great mountains as mighty valleys sprawl out below you. Far out there in the distance, you can see jagged peaks rolling upwards into the sky like an ocean. The second day was much longer than I expected it to be though, and after I had been walking for about 5 hours, I thought that the hut wouldn't be too far. Sort of had a reality check for a second. I realized just how exhausted I was, and that I had barely any water, and that it would be getting dark pretty soon. It would take at least 2 hours to get to the hut from where I am. As it was getting dark, as I was walking down into the forest, it started pouring rain. I hiked in the dark for almost 2 hours, and every turn, I was eagerly looking for the hut. I was starting to get quite worried that maybe I'd even missed the hut, and then there it was. Finally I made it, and I just went in, and nobody was there. I went to bed right away because I was just so exhausted. I didn't see a single person all day, not even one. Welcome back to Onwards and Upwards, everybody. Thanks for joining me for this journey along the Kepler Track. So it's currently the 7th of May today. I'm gonna be coming out of the trail on the 10th. It's gonna be 3 nights. It's about a 1-hour walk to the trailhead. Starts at these control gates. I'm just really hoping I can get out of these clouds. I'm also prepared for rain. I got my rain pants, my raincoat. Alright, so we're at the control gate now, and we're just walking by, entering the Kiwi zone. So we reached the fork in the road. One way goes up to Luxmore Hut, and the other way goes up to Moturau. The best views on the trek are around Luxmore Hut. You walk all along this beautiful ridge. Size of this mushroom. Tired. This pack is really heavy as I'm not taking dry food up, not taking a cooker, a lot of canned stuff, some bread, so honestly very inefficient packing for food, but this is one heavy bag, let me tell you that much. So we got the apricot chocolate bumper bar full of tasty stuff. Tim Tams. I kind of made a stupid decision by not bringing the gas cooker. I brought up a bag filled with canned goods, canned beans, you know, canned pineapple. You can just see in the size of my bag that it's kind of heavy. So I was just hiking up the trail and this woman was walking down the trail backwards, and she just turned around and saw me right as I was passing, and she screamed quite loudly. It was quite shocking, honestly. I should have probably said hi and warned her faster, because, you know, I just turned around a corner and she was walking backwards down the hill. Alright everybody, so we just made it to this beginning of the ridge. I came down from Te Anau there. I just got here at the perfect moment, just surrounded by mountains in all directions. So there's Luxmore Hut. We're approaching it now. It's actually quite a huge hotel looking thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Such a when it comes to that. Like, I'm open about it. I'm like, nah, camping and hut life is not for me. I'll do it, but it's not for me.
That's fair. I was happy with car camping. I'm not sure I'd want to do like
Yeah.
4 hours.
No.
There's Luxmore Hut down there. Morning everybody, so it's day 2 of the Kepler Track, and am I ever sore today? You know, I woke up a few times in the night, cramping a bit. It was one of the most poorly packed bags I've ever done in my life, and you know, I'm just feeling the consequences of it. You know, I just feel like I should have a bit of warm up without my bag. Beautiful sunrise this morning. The weather's actually quite cloudy, but not too bad at all right now. But I think it's set to rain later in the day. So let's just hope for the best and hope it doesn't rain too much. So you can see in the far distance the trail that I'm going to take in a bit. Warning, during the months of May to October, winter conditions can make this track impassable. Danger exists from deep snow, adverse weather conditions, and snow avalanches. Hut facilities may not have heating, fuel, running water, or staff present during these months. So I'd reckon it's about noon, about 12 o'clock now, and we've just made it to the top of this ridge, it looks like. And you can just see in the distance how far we've traveled up this entire valley. And below is the outskirts of Te Anau. It's beautiful. Almost at the top here. The sign said 10 minutes to the top of Luxmore. I think it's more about 20 or 25, but I was going a bit slow. And we're at the top of Mount Luxmore. So I don't know what the elevation of this mountain is currently, but this is what it is, you know. I don't see much snow on the surrounding mountains. So you can see the hut down there. So I found an emergency shelter here. so that's where we're going, the trail in a few minutes. All right, so I'm just sitting down taking a break, and I'm pretty excited to get there, to get to this hut. This hike's actually a lot longer than I expected as well. Even though people told me the second day would be about 6 hours to hike, it's just a grueling 6 hours, you know, uphill. This hike is just unexpectedly long, you know, each corner you wonder, oh, is the hut there? Is the hut there? And it's not, and there's a whole nother mountain you have to climb up and down. By far the most difficult hike I've done, I think, not in terms of technical difficulty, but in terms of length of hiking per day. There's a whole nother valley I have to climb across, and it's quite intimidating. All right, so I've reached a bit of a turning point here in the trip because I'm feeling really tired, and I reached this emergency hut. So you can see this hut there. It's beautiful, you know, it just has everything you need. But the thing is, there's no water here. So honestly, I'm really considering staying here overnight, but the thing is, I just don't have enough water. So I think I'm gonna head up, keep going, even though I really don't like the idea of 2 hours more. I'm just a bit tired. It's about 3:30, almost 4, so you know, only have an hour and a half, 2 hours left of daylight. We got to get going if we want to make it to the iris burn shelter. Here you go, the beautiful Fiordlands, absolutely stunning. I'm gonna miss these views. And this is the Hanging Valley Shelter, altitude 1,390. Alright, so this is where I slept last night. Can't really see much of it. And then here's outside. Oh. So it is beautiful out there. This is that ridge that you saw yesterday, just after I left that other hut. It's been a bit of a crazy 24 hours since the last shot when I was at that shelter with the beautiful view of all the surrounding mountains. Oh, you know, I was hiking for about 2 hours. I stopped for a snack, and then some heavy rains hit. For a little while I didn't put all my rain gear on, which is a terrible mistake, because you saw hanging in the other room were all these wet clothes, and you know, my bag has really been heavy enough as it is, so I'm a bit worried about that. And you know, I think I just full-on underestimated this hike. Yesterday was just a brutal slog, just incredible views, absolutely majestic. I also didn't account for how close we are to winter, because it gets pitch black at about 5:30 down here. I arrived here at 6 at the hut. I was just exhausted, man. I was just dead, and I tried to light a fire for a little bit, was not successful. There wasn't much material. And I had some food and then went to bed, and I woke up at 6, so I slept you know, around 12 hours from 6 to 6. But also I'm just completely alone in this hut, which is quite an interesting feeling, especially arriving after dark in the rain. Definitely a feeling of solace and you know, beauty here, but it's also a little bit eerie, not creepy, but just, you know, being here in the dark alone. Definitely an interesting experience. You know, let's just hope the best that the 6-hour journey today is not as difficult as the one yesterday. I only have one GoPro battery left for today and tomorrow though, so I'm gonna be selective about what I film. And I think yesterday and the day before were the days with the most spectacular views. Today we're gonna be walking through this primeval forest. So it's a 6-hour hike to the next hut, and that will be the last night. I realized as well that this is the longest hike I've ever done in my life actually. I've done 3 days and 2 nights before, but never 4 days and 3 nights. I'm really lucky that I could be doing it in such a beautiful place. Stunning mountains. And then there's the mountain yesterday. So here's the interior of the hut itself. It's actually a beautiful space, and yeah, interesting that nobody's using it. See, gas, water all turned off. But it's a nice place to check out and have your breakfast as well, so that's what I'm going to do now. That's the first purple mushroom that I've ever seen in my life. That's pretty incredible. So I'm currently about an hour away from the final hut. So I was just walking through the forest. I was kind of in my own bubble, you know, just concentrated on the hike, walking for a couple hours non-stop now. And all of a sudden I hear a crack. And then I look, and an entire tree just falls over. And as it's falling, it breaks into different parts and just hits the ground with a big thud. People talk about that quote, you know, if a tree falls in the woods, is anybody gonna hear it? I've just seen one now, so. So this is where I slept last night, in just this bed here. As you can tell, my throat's pretty croaky. Alright, so here's my bag here. You can't really see it. There's the fireplace you saw going last night. And then this is the hut itself. So it's actually a beautiful hut. It's got a good view as well, right of the bay here. And look at that. The water's still running too. Alright, so as you can hear here, my voice is not doing too well. The first night actually on the hike at Luxmore Hut, I realized I had something lingering in my throat. I went to bed around 7 last night after the fire and slept 8 hours, woke up at 2 in the morning. And that's the trouble with hiking in the winter is like, what do you do for those 5-6 hours of darkness in the morning? The other thing was it was really cold. It was actually like too cold to even be comfortable walking out, and you know, one of my jumpers was wet. After arriving at the Rainbow Reach parking lot, I decided to hitchhike, so I walked to the road, and after waiting about an hour nervously, a friendly Japanese couple on their honeymoon actually picked me up, and they took me back to my hostel in Te Anau.
Like, subscribe and share. Click on. Do like, subscribe and share this video towards your family, friends and everything. Go, hit like button.